Hello and welcome to my second episode of Mario Kart Tutorials. Today I'll be going over the game modes and character customization. I'm going to be going over the menus before starting to go over the characters. And if you just want to play Mario Kart with your kids, don't really care about the menus and the game modes, just skip to the timestamp on the screen. So much. Now let's start by explaining the game menus and modes of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. On the main menu, you will see press L or R to start. These are the bumpers I mentioned in the previous video. Once you press these buttons, you will be brought to a screen that will show single player, multiplayer, online play, and wireless play. Single player is where you will play on your own against computer-controlled players or yourself to improve your play. I would recommend using this as training, but I will get into those specific game modes for training later. Multiplayer is where you will play against other players in the same room together and on the same console. Online play is where you can play against other random people by yourself or with one friend on the same Nintendo Switch console. So if you want to play with, say, someone from Canada, you can. Or you can play you and one friend against, say, some person in Canada, if that friend is also on that console with you. Now, to use this service to play with other people and other consoles specifically, you will have to pay a subscription service that Nintendo owns, but this subscription service is not necessary to play the single player or multiplayer versions of the game. Finally, there is wireless play where you can play with people you know on different Nintendo Switch consoles. So say Timmy is at his house and Billy is at his house and they want to play Mario Kart together, they can play through this mode together. But this also does require that same subscription service that the online mode requires to have. Now let's get into game modes. I will select single player because this will show me and all of you the most game modes of single and multiplayer, as there are some that are only single player, but you can still play multiplayer mode on single player. You can see there is Grand Prix, Time Trial, Versus Race, and Battle. Grand Prix is available in both single player and multiplayer and involves playing 4 races back to back. You can play against computer-controlled players and try to get first place. Time trials are a single player only mode where you can try to race against your best times, or if you have that online subscription, other players' best times on other consoles. If you want to practice specific races, this is also a great place to do it. So where I was mentioning training earlier, this would be the place to do it. But if you just want to have fun with your kids, then Versus Race is where you will probably want to be playing. This game mode allows you to play races with custom rules, like choosing 64 races instead of 4, saying that you can only use specific types of vehicles, or choosing to play against really difficult computers, or none at all. There are many different rules, and if you want to look into them, I'll explain them all in a future video. Finally, there is Battle, which is also a game for both single and multiplayer. This mode contains small mini-games like balloon races where you have to hit your opponents with certain items, which will remove a balloon from them. Essentially, it's the last person standing wins. There's also a Cops and Robbers game mode, a King of the Hill game mode, and there's many more. So if you just want to get away from the hustle and bustle of the races, here's the place that you should go. Now, before getting into the character customization side of things, let's get into the speeds of the race. Now, for speeds of the races, there are 50, 100, 150, mirror, and 200cc. This number refers to the general speed of all cars or motorcycles or any vehicle. 50 is the slowest that all cars will go, and 200 is the fastest. Mirror is a special game mode where all maps are reversed, so if you supposedly on a map the track goes to the right, on this mirror game mode the track will instead go to the left. I would recommend starting on 50 or 100cc to start. This will teach you how to drive well, and when you feel more confident, 150 or even 200cc if you want that challenge, those are the places you would want to go. Now finally, we are talking about character customization. Firstly, to let you know, if you want to play the game and just have fun, pick any character you want. There is very little detriment to picking one character over another unless you're trying to min-max and play the best thing possible. I will get into those things later, but I will give you a brief synopsis of them right now. In the groups of characters, there are light characters, medium characters, and heavy characters. Light characters allow you to speed up more quickly. They have a higher acceleration, but a very low top speed. These are baby characters, Toad and Toadette. And if you want to know what these characters' names are and you don't know by their icon, there's a little bar at the bottom of the screen where it will tell you what the names are. Now, heavy characters, they have a very low acceleration. They have a very high top speed. So if you want to go very fast, eventually, these are the characters you want to play. These characters are Bowser, Metal Mario, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Waluigi. Finally, you've got your middle-of-the-road characters. These ones have their acceleration and top speed very similar to each other. So if you want to learn, this is where I'd recommend the UB. Now, these characters are kind of like your main roster of most Mario-based games. You've got Mario, Peach, Luigi, Yoshi, and Daisy. These are your medium ones. So once again, if you're trying to learn how to play the game, this is where I'd recommend that you start. I'm going to start with Mario, as this is the best place for me to explain the next section. Now let's get into cars. I will have a whole video about the best cars for specific maps later in my series. That is a very large topic, and that will take much longer than I want to make this video, so I'm going to go over it later. This is all because of this menu and these 5 stats. So you may notice 3 buttons at the bottom of this little stat screen. This is what I really want to talk about. These 3 buttons relate to auto steering, type of steering, and auto acceleration. Now let's start with steering types. Now to explain steering controls, I've got 2 of the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons in front of me. I'm going to use the blue one just to explain this. Now, as I mentioned in the controller controls video, there is the analog control where you use the stick to control. You got left, right, make the car aim down, make it aim up when you're flying. This is the one that I would personally recommend, but if you think this would be too complicated or difficult, there's one other one which I'm just going to call steering controls. And it is just like you were steering a car. So you would be holding the acceleration button, you turn this way to make the car turn left. Turn the remote this way to make the car turn right. If you want the car to face downwards, you would lean it forward like this. If you want it to face upwards, lean it like this. Now, as I said earlier, I would personally recommend that you use this Joy-Con control, as sometimes the extreme movements of using steering controls can lead your car to spin a little bit more than you might intend. But if you do want to use steering controls to do this, be my guest. Now, if you want to change between the steering and stick controls, you'll press the Y button on your remote or the left button. Will make it change between steering and stick. Steering, stick. The button on the left, or the one that says L on it, relating to auto steering. This is turned on. You will make your car steer away from the rough terrain. You are on a track and you're about to go onto, say, some grass that is off the track, you will automatically be steered back towards the track. For new players, this is a great learning tool that will allow you to learn more easily how to drive. If you're trying to have fun, then play with it on. The only downside to having this on is if you really can't use any shortcuts. So again, if you're just want to have some fun, don't really care about winning against people that know how to use these shortcuts, just have it on and just have fun. Finally, the third button is auto accelerate. This will make it so that you automatically accelerate. As with the auto steer, this is very nice to have for new players, It has very few detrimental effects for much better players. There are some advanced techniques in certain tracks that will make it so that you want to turn this off. Until you really want to use those techniques that I will probably get into in another video, I would recommend turning this on and just having it on. Once again, and for cars, I would just recommend that you use whatever you want to use for now, because all of these stats on the right side, they're pretty minimal if you don't really know how to drive. So I'd recommend picking something that will allow you to learn how to drive and then learn that. Now it is time to race. Pick your racetrack and have fun. See you in the next video.